Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler. Good to be back on the air today on this seventh day of August. Folks, let me tell you this real quick. I've started this show in May of 2017, and I've never went 2 weeks without doing this program between transferring my internet from one address to another and having the issues in moving. And I still haven't gotten my green screen set up. So I'm going to be going dark. You can still hear me though, right, Carlos? So Carlos said he could still hear me. So just wanted to thank everybody for their patience. Wanted to get back on here starting tonight and trying to get back into some rhythm, folks. But stand by. We'll take our first and only break. We got a lot of catching up to do here on the Real Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. All right, I'm back here live. Looks like Carlos dropped out for a second. Let's see. Hopefully he'll be back on here. But anyways, looks like there's a lot of big stories that we haven't got a chance to get to. We won't get to everything. ESPN, folks. ESPN, they have made a deal with the NFL to buy a new to own part of the NFL. Our NFL will have stake at it. They'll have equity in ESPN. That's an interesting story to get to. Both polls, by the way, college football, both polls have came out. The coaches poll. This is weird. I've never seen this before, but both polls have came out. Both the college and the coaches poll. Okay, there goes the Mad New Yorker there. Let's bring him in. Hey, man, how you doing?
How's it going? Happy Thursday, man.
Good deal. I hope you can hear me pretty well. I'm in my new facility. I haven't got the green screen set up. A little bit of an echo in here, but very nice place. I just got to get my green screen set up, and I haven't got you cannot put holes in the wall here, so I'm gonna have to go through another means and get my stand set up for the green screen. So a little bit of background information there. Man, I don't even know where to start at other than the side note. I was watching a little bit of the Ravens and the Colts game, the preseason game, and Anthony Richardson's not picking up on any blitzes. I got a feeling this guy in year 3 is not going to be the starting quarterback about mid-season or at any point this year if he ever gets an opportunity. I think it's going to be your boy Danny Dimes, and they'd probably be looking for another quarterback next year in the draft. Just a side note about that.
Well, I mean, they need to hold on to Anthony Richardson because Danny Dimes is about as much as what you he's more likely to get hurt than score than throw 10 touchdowns this year. So
yeah.
So
yeah. Well, anyways, that was just a side observation, folks. He got lit up earlier in this game. I hope he's okay. I Anthony Richardson. For those of you just joined, I see some people popping in. My green screen's not set up. So you're seeing me. I'm doing my Dan. Remember our guy Dan, the late great Dan from Let's Talk Sports. He always had his camera off, So I feel like I'm in isolation. They got me facing, but it's all good though because I don't even got the suit on today. I didn't even have to turn the air down, Carlos. I did want to ask you, what's your thoughts about Shedeur Sanders? The old adage, harder you work, luckier you get. He's had some mixed reviews. The last review I've read about him, he's doing pretty well in minicamp. Some guys ahead of him are injured. Joe Flacco looks like he's not even going to play. They know what they got there. What do you think about him getting to start in his first preseason game? Do you think he'll be able to seize on this opportunity, or do you feel like maybe he didn't get the correct amount of snaps with the first team reps, which some of the ESPN people are already saying? What's your thoughts about that whole situation there up there in Cleveland? Interesting storyline.
Yeah, I think for sure what they're going to do is try to shop him. That's why I think he's getting the nod to go ahead and start.
Wow, you think they're trying to shout Shedeur Sanders?
Yeah, I don't believe that they took one of the best players, one of the most talented, or one of the most ready quarterback that they were going to get at that round. Because every quarterback after that probably never even see the league, end up in Canadian League, or even playing in the summer league. So
okay,
I think they just got the guy with the most value, and I think they're going to shop him. I don't feel like they're helping him as far as like, they already said he don't get enough reps. So that tells you that he's not in the plans to be a backup.
Okay.
So my idea is I think they're trying to, put him out there and see if other teams are willing to bite. Maybe even a team like Indianapolis.
There you go.
Yeah, and even maybe a team like LA. Look, Stafford's
do you think that he's set? Do you think they're setting him up to fail, like some of the ESPN people are suggesting?
I don't think it's the idea that they're setting him up to fail. I think it's the idea is that they have way too many Chiefs in the and not enough Indians.
They definitely got that.
It's not a thing about holding him back. I think, to be honest with you, I think he's smart enough and talented enough and has more upside that if he would go to any other place, that they would probably have a good backup in him for at least a year and maybe even a starter. Who knows? It just depends on how he develops, right? So I don't think that was their plan in Cleveland. I think they just, Cleveland pulled a New York Jets. Just get the guy who's got the big name, and let's see what how many fans come out here and try and hoping to to get these ticket sales and then get the excitement going. Look, Cleveland is a place that once they got Dylan, I thought they were gonna just stop on QBs, but they just kept going. And so it's a situation over there that's just horrific, right? You got Watson coming back in 3 or 4 months, maybe sooner than that.
Yes.
You got
mid-season sometime or another, probably.
You got Flacco that shouldn't be playing anymore, but he is. He's everybody's he's our present day Vinny Testaverde.
That's a good comparison, man.
And then you got Dylan, who's you don't know who you have in Dylan yet. He's a highly rated college quarterback that got that was I think he's one of the most he got all his stats good for the Heisman, but he was one of those people we don't know. We want him
because he had such a good team around him. Right.
We don't know if he's a third round draft pick. And I'm like, geez, either you like the guy or you don't, but so they end up grabbing him, and we don't know what his potential is at. And I don't think that neither him, Dylan, nor Shedeur are in a good situation in Cleveland. And I honestly do think that they're going to be shopping Shedeur. So
okay. Yeah, I think if he plays well, which I think there's a chance he could have a 60% completion percentage in this particular game coming up. I think it's tomorrow if I'm not mistaken. They're playing Carolina or somebody. And the fact that the owner, you know, he said he didn't, but I think he did make that play to get Sanders there. I think he did.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if him drafting Shedeur would have brought Sanders there, but that's just the type of mentality that the owner has, right? So, you know, we'll see. Then, like I've always said that Deion Sanders is going to do what Deion Sanders wants to do, and I don't think his kids have an effect on his choices. So.
Okay.
Now,
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I accidentally hit something on this mic. I'm so discombobulated, dude.
I've always been on the thing that Deion Sanders has brought up his children to try to be the best athletes and the best like representations of themselves with the Sanders last name. Then the situation that you kind of see Eli was with his father and even with Peyton, like how he dealt with them, like, you know, so, and it's not, and I don't think it's because Sanders doesn't have that much pull. I just think that Sanders has raised his kids to be independent, a little bit more independent. So, you know.
Well, I like the fact that he told his dad not to come to camp. I thought that was good.
Yeah.
Now he did get 2 speeding tickets when he first went to Cleveland. I thought that was very immature of him.
Yeah, I mean, that's a knucklehead move, but again, we're looking at we're looking at guys that are becoming men coming out of college, and I'm not saying that I wouldn't or I would, but if I was able to obtain a nice fast car, I'd test its limits. Now, you know, you'd have to be kind of like smart about how you do that if you're gonna do it. But you know, he just got a little bit silly with that situation, and it happens. And I hope he learns from it, and then if there's anything else he chooses to do, he has to know that he has a representation in the NFLPA that would help him in almost any situation that will come, that he'll be hit with, whether it be something psychological, something financial, something like, you know, physical, whatever it is. They have a big web of support. So,
excuse me. Yeah.
You know.
Well, I believe that Haslam made a point the other day. He's the owner, Jimmy Haslam. He said that I don't believe that Arch Manning, because there's this narrative going out there that they're saving for next year. They're going to put up together some picks and go after Arch Manning. Well, Archie Manning, the grandfather, said today that he don't think Arch is going to come out. I said from the get-go, Arch is not going to come out. He's going to play this year, and he's going to play next year like Eli, just like Peyton, like his 2 uncles did. Mr. Haslam thinks that's the truth, and I believe Mr. Haslam. They're going to do everything they can to get out of that Deshaun Watson contract as soon as they can. And I think they're going to try to give this guy a try at quarterback. I think they'll probably move Kenny Pickett. They'll probably move Pickett. And they may cut somebody. They may cut somebody towards the end and keep another quarterback on there. They actually signed what was the guy's name? Tyler Huntley, because they don't have enough healthy quarterbacks right now.
Right. I mean,
there's a slight chance that he could play this year. Sanders could play actually a real game. Now, if he goes in there and looks terrible in this game coming up, he'd be behind the 8 ball. But remember, Josh Dobbs, when he went to Minnesota in the middle of the week, he had a good game. Remember that? He beat Atlanta. We also remember Baker Mayfield on Thursday Night Football one time. We got traded to the Rams in the middle of the week. He came in there with just 1 or 2 days and actually beat the Raiders. There's a chance he could have a good game come Friday. And you might want to look and say, hey, man, maybe you want to kick. Because this guy did have the highest completion percentage in 2 years in college football history. He's right at 70-something plus %. He's underrated. I mean, to be a 5th-round pick, a lot of that was some of the stuff that Deion was saying. I'm sure he regrets privately saying all that. that stuff, making overhyping Shedeur and making him look like that he's this diva when he still has arm strength issues and whatnot. It kind of scares some teams off, man, and telling him, certain teams not to draft him when he wasn't like a can't miss John Elway level talent, but he is a talent. I think sometimes we forget the fact that he's a pretty talented guy.
Well, I feel like it's that whole like Greasy situation that happened when they drafted Bob Greasy's son, and there was
Whose son?
Greasy, Bob Greasy.
Oh yeah, Brian Greasy.
Brian Greasy, yeah. So it was that whole like you're not. It's two different people, two different types of athletes. Like the thing is, Deion's not a quarterback either, so but he played one on TV, right? So I would just, if I'm a GM or even a scout, I'm under the impression that I'm going to watch this game. I'm going to be open-minded, and and the kid does semi-good. He's definitely going to be on my radar to try to move and bring him. So
yeah, we'll see how that plays out, man. That's going to be a great story. Wanted to move on. We're 15 minutes past. This is going back a few weeks, but we're out of Nashville. You follow the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Let me make this point. I didn't get a chance. I wanted to go on yesterday, but I had a guy come in here and he put together Amazon. When they say they're going to send you something to build, assemble, in air quotes, like a dresser or a couch, they ain't joking, dude. I mean, I had just a box full of wood. I thought they was going to give me a tree to cut down and a bucket of paint. So long story short, I had to call a guy, one of these, to assemble this thing. I didn't get a chance to do a show yesterday to assemble a dresser and a couch, man. But I wanted to talk about this for 2 weeks, that the Titans did let Will Levis, who put a picture of his shoulder out on the internet. I don't know if you've seen it, but it looks deformed looking. He waits a day before training camp, with the shoulder like that. That should have been looked at immediately at the end of the season back in December, January, right? Sometime or another. And they should have pulled a Raiders on him and said, hey, this is you got to get this thing fixed, man. This is too deformed looking. If we got to go to arbitration and cut you, and we will just go through that process, we can't let you hold off with the shoulder that looks this bad. It was really bad looking. I think that's a questionable thing. Is that on his character where he's trying to put off getting cut because you can't cut a guy that's injured because you're going to be cut when you're not injured per se? I didn't like the way they handled that situation. I didn't like the way he handled that situation. Whether he's, trying to stick it to the Titans or whatever. Either way, it doesn't look good on either party. Then on top of that, Tennessee, they got Trayvon Burks here, the best shape of his life in first day of camp. He fractures his collarbone, and he could be ready by week 1 per se, or week 2. And Tennessee jumps the gun. Now, of course, this general manager group staff did not draft him. That was going back to John Robertson. But why cut him when you really don't have a replacement? It's just a lot of questions about their leadership, man, that I just got to call out about the Titans. I think maybe they do get it together with this group, but they make a lot of questionable moves right now. And it just looks like there's no set standard of real leadership up there, and I'm concerned about that. Now, maybe it all comes together. Cam Ward can play, but what do you think about those two different? That's a loaded question, but you got two incidents there that it looks like there's just not enough organization in the organization from a management perspective. From the Tennessee Titans. What's your thoughts about, first of all, with Levis like that, putting off a surgery like that the day before camp, man? And Titans letting him get away with that.
That situation is on both the player and the team. That should have been something that was taken care of as soon as the season was over with.
Yeah.
They should have done the physical as soon as their vacation time or when they were supposed to sit back to start training. They should have had a physical. So like, I'm not sure what they're doing over there as far as, letting him even train and to a point where it was looking like that. But that shouldn't have never happened. And if it's something like that happens, it should be like you and I should know about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
We shouldn't see no pictures, and we shouldn't be like sending postcards from our vacation spot. Like, but I think their whole GM mind frame is like they have Cam Ward, they're moving forward.
Okay.
If this gets better, if he doesn't matter. They have Cam Ward. The Treylon Burks thing, he's always been opt injured, even in school. He did come out as one of the most like talented type of players, could play multiple different positions. Even in high school, he was a quarterback and wide receiver, everything. But also, even in high school and in college, he was oft injured. So, he has a record. He had a record of that. So, if you're a general manager and you're looking at that and thinking, okay, now his collarbone is broken and he hasn't like put out what we thought he was going to put out. Their expectations haven't been met there. I think it was easier to cut him loose because the contract would be coming up and you don't want to extend him and him coming back from an injury.
Yeah.
So that's not just it's a money move and it's a position move because look, they got Calvin Ridley that who knows what you're going to get from him. The Tyler Lockett, which what you're going to get from Tyler Lockett. He seems like the most consistent player. The biggest problem with him is that, of course, he's as much as he's a big time player, he's like a McLaurin or somebody that's small. That even though they're big time, you risk injury because he'll go for every type of throw that they'll and he might be able to catch almost every kind of throw, but he's more likely to get injured because he plays in the middle. He's going to try to be outside as much as possible, but he's a small guy, right? So, and then they're hoping that one of these wide receivers, Porsche or Jaquan Jackson, like somebody just comes up.
Well, there's a guy that's getting a lot of ink. This 4th round pick out of Stanford. You'll probably see him play Saturday. Elic, E-L-I-C, Manor from Stanford. I'm butchering that last name. I know I'm butchering it, but he's the guy who torched Travis Hunter in college, if you remember, the Stanford player.
Ayamanor?
I think you got it. Ayamanor. Yeah, it's not manure like crap or anything.
No, manure.
Yeah. But
I know my New York accent now has got butchered up.
Yeah, dude. But he looks good in camp. But you're putting a lot of faith in a rookie, and you're trying, all my old adage is you always want to load the rookie up with as much talent as you can around him.
Yeah.
Especially his first year,
Yeah, and well, you have the supposedly the elder statement and Ridley and Lockett. So with those two guys, you should have a wealth of knowledge being transferred to the younger guys. And these guys are the problem. I think the biggest problem is that they don't match up height wise, because Manor is taller and even Jackson, they're a little bit taller. So these are smaller type of wide receivers with big game than big tall receivers with big game. So like I don't know the transfer of information and how that's going to get dispersed and how they're going to help them out in that fact, but we'll see. And the GM's just banking on that. He's got experience on the roster. He's not going on what they did, the last 2 seasons. He's going on the fact that these guys have been in the league already for more than 5 years, and they got big contracts, right? So that's what
and you want to throw in Van Jefferson, who used to play with the Rams. He's okay, man. It's listen, Ward is getting rave reviews. Brandon Allen's behind him and a guy named Tim Boyle. If Ward, for whatever reason, gets hurt, Tennessee's probably going to be a 3 or 4 win team again.
Well, they got the Jets. They got the Jets, the good old Jets, 4th string, 6th string quarterback. and Tim Boyle. So maybe they'll win a game or two. Have that man ain't won anything and has been on more professional football teams. He's got to be the most luckiest guy.
Oh, I know. There's some backup quarterbacks that it's not really good in the NFL.
Oh my goodness! I mean, I can't personally say I know the guy, and but geez, this guy's been lucky, and he has some of the most horrid numbers I've seen.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Nathan Peterman, the former Vols quarterback who's bounced around and as a backup. I mean, that dude's another one of those players.
I mean,
he wasn't even good in college,
Right. Even for that, they should just go for Tua's brother. I mean, and pick him up on some waivers and pay him, scrap just to have a backup who can at least run the football, right? If you're gonna be throwing interceptions, you might as well just give it to a quarterback that can run and get a couple first yards, right?
Bring back the former Titan there. What's his name? The former Titan quarterback that didn't play last year. Jeez.
The guy who played for the Dolphins, or what's his name?
Yeah, I know.
They talked about it so much, I forgot his name.
Yeah. Well, because he did not play last year, at all. He was looking for the actual. He was looking Ryan Tannehill. Excuse me. Yeah, Ryan Tannehill. I'd rather bring him in there now. All that being said, the Titans, they were second in least yards allowed, only to the Philadelphia Eagles defensively. If they can emulate that and Ward play half as better as a Will Levis, who was turning the ball over at random last year, they could probably win 5, 6, 7 games. I thought maybe 7-9. Now I'm thinking more 5-7.
Yeah.
Right now.
They'll probably win.
They don't really have a lot of skill players in there on this team, man.
I feel like this is a lot of the teams that are like, you have the top 10 teams, and then all the teams are kind of like similar. Either they're good on defense or they're good on offense. There's just no balance.
Right.
This team is going to be similar to the Giants. And unfortunately, it's
okay, you're with me on that. Okay,
I'm saying that for the first time in about a long time. I always pick Tennessee as a dark horse, and this and that. But this is the first time that I don't feel positive about any of my New York teams, and now not even with. So I don't know if I'm going to watch football this season. No, but
I love watching football.
On a serious note, that division is wide open. The Jags, the same thing. They have, they probably have one of the opportunities to make up ground, but between Houston, the Jags, and I think it's just they're gonna be splitting games there, right? So
it's probably a 2-team race.
Yeah, and it's all gonna come down to the amount of injuries some of these teams get. So
yeah.
It's going to be ugly AFC South this year. So
yeah. And
it's usually
maybe Ward surprises everybody and balls out. You just never know.
Well, I mean, right. That's one thing that because he's a rookie, you don't know what he's going to do.
And he's going to have an improved offensive line. They signed Dan Moore, big contract at left tackle.
You can be rest assured if they can score 27 points a game, that defense will be able to hold them.
Oh yeah.
21.
And they'll be better special teams too. Wise, they got a new special teams guy. So
right, so they should be able to win 6 games, but can Ward win them 3 games extra and get them into a playoff situation? That's where the question is, right? So, and I'm not sure. Because he's a rookie, and I'm not sure what kind of injuries is going to happen, and in that division, it's possible. So,
that's true. In other news, Michael Parsons still hasn't signed with the Cowboys. He requested a trade last week. That's kind of calmed down this week. would you, if you're a team like a Tennessee with a quarterback on a rookie contract, or a New England, another rookie quarterback contract guy, would you make a run at a Micah Parsons the way the Bears, if you recall, made a run at Khalil Mack a few years ago and ended up getting to the playoffs that first year? Khalil Mack really helped them out. Or do you think it's probably a moot point that, Jerry's going to sign him? He's just wanting us to play out the drama like he always does.
Well, it just also it's funny that you mentioned the Bears, because they're actually on the waiting list to see what's going to happen. They really want Michael Parsons.
Wow.
I don't. If I'm the GM, I don't need that toxicity, man. I don't.
Would you boot Parsons?
Yeah, because the problem is that he's making it about himself now.
Okay.
Remember last year he was like, well, like we need to be playing defense, and I was expected to be in the Super Bowl, not trying to make a playoff, right? So,
yeah. Would you pay him $38 to $41 million a year?
That's their year ago. That's the issue right there.
Yeah.
As much as you want to get rid of him, nobody wants to pick up his contract. So
yeah,
that's one of the biggest problems.
And give up two pretty high picks for him.
I mean, but here's the thing: you're Jerry Jones. You have nothing to lose because you're not going to be in the Super Bowl next. You're not going to be in the Super Bowl this year. So
yeah,
if I'm Jerry Jones and I'm about money, because he is about money as much as people don't think he is. As much as he giveth away, he like to take it too. I would just. You don't need that. Like Jerry Jones has spent all his time trying to make this team out more than what it's worth, and he's did his job as a businessman. And now you have a player on the team who's been talking smack since last season. That you haven't been in the Super Bowl and you're barely going to make a playoff. And you don't need that, man. And as much as he's one of the best defenders, he does have issues stopping the run. So if you're a team like LA, if you're a team like Houston, if you're a team like the Bears, get this guy, put him on your defense and supplement.
Yeah, if you can afford him. I don't know if those teams have the capital. I think a Tennessee would look good, or New England to have a higher pick.
The problem, you're talking of teams that if Michael Parsons had a choice to go to, he would not want to be on, right? So this is another problem, right? He's going to talk to his agent and be like, what teams are sniffing around? And then he's going to...
Well, he's going to be like, the agent's going to be like, well, you got to have some teams that can afford you.
Right. So he's going to
catch 22.
Right. So he put himself in a predicament. This is kind of like the Livis thing. He's not paying attention to what the situation is in reality, in real time. And the situation is like nobody wants a contract. So, as much as you want to be on a playoff team, a Super Bowl bound team, the likelihood of that happening is very low because they have very low income to be spending on you. So, or trade or have anything to trade value. So, I
thought it was worth talking about. Well, and I know Jerry's going to pay him a lot of money.
Well, he's going to have to pay him. He's paying him no matter what, whether he gets an extension or not. That they're
going to make the headlines before Labor Day weekend. My prediction: this will be done. Do you predict he's going to get traded? I don't think he'll get traded.
If I'm Jerry Jones and his sons, I'm like, get him out of here because he.
Yeah, but that's if me and you are Jerry Jones. We're using common sense. This is Jerry Jones we're talking about here. He loves the headlines. He loves to bring it to the last hour. He loves this advertisement.
This starting to sound more like the Jets than the Cowboys as a whole. Like this is too much. It's too much.
Jerry's getting worse.
Yes,
he's turning into Al Davis at the end. Oh. He's going to pay him about $40 to $42 million. This deal will get done in another week. They'll make headlines before the season starts, and then the Dallas Cowboys will win about 6 or 7 games as well. And Jerry be happy.
Robert, how about this? How about you put on the GM cap and you don't worry about what the common sense thing is to do, but what do you want to do? What would you do with this guy?
This is what I'm going to do this, and I'm going to move on. I'll say this real quick. The Bears got 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick, or this is what the Raiders got. Of course, the Raiders don't draft good. They got 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and a 6th-round pick in exchange for Khalil Mack and a 2nd-round pick and a conditional 5th. That's a pretty good. And of course, they had to pay Mack a ton of money to come. The Bears got to the play. They won the division that year.
Yeah.
With Mitch Trubisky. Now, if they had a decent quarterback, they'd have run that year. And a few years after that, he really upped their defense. I think Michael would help. He would up a defense to another level like a Mack would. I think he's very talented. But deep down, he knows that the Cowboys are limited because Jones is off his rocker. And he likes to pump up his own podcast and say, hey, I want out of here. So that's my take. My prediction is he'll get signed with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, let's get to this other story. This is an interesting story, man. ESPN and the NFL Network, the NFL have made a deal where ESPN, a lot of people hate this. And quite frankly, I'm one of them people. I don't want ESPN and Disney to own anything. I just don't like the way they're run, but they own everything, including a lot of the college SEC games. But this is what happened in the past 24 hours, I want to say, maybe 2 days, I guess, or whatever. But this ESPN's reached a deal with the NFL to acquire Red Zone channel along with the NFL Network and NFL Fantasy in exchange for 10% equity stake. So the NFL will own 10% equity in ESPN. So the investigative reports in the NFL, that's going to go down to the wayside because that is a conflict of interest right there. The deal will see ESPN owning the Red Zone brand, but the NFL will continue to operate and produce the channel and its digital distribution. That's pretty interesting, man. I really didn't think something like this would happen. They're still pending approval from NFL owners. What's your thoughts of something like that, man?
I think it's more about the digital content and how it's being pushed, how it's being serviced, right? So Disney, ESPN, they want more viewership. They want to be able to sustain and give ESPN content, right? And they're just buying up little bits of everything. And this isn't a little bit now. This isn't college football. This isn't. Yeah. I don't know if you noticed on ESPN Plus, you get a lot of like Division II games in college, Division I, not the top 5. You can get a lot of different types of games, which to me is cool because I like out of region games. Yeah. And I'm like,
they're going to do. There's been talks of using the Red Zone brand to do college football, which ESPN owns also.
Right. So
that would be kind of cool. That part of it.
Yeah. I think it's just a way to procure more content so they can be able to get more subscribers, or to give current subscribers.
Why do you think the NFL did it?
Well, NFL wants consistency. They'd rather give this to Disney, who formerly ABC Sports. They know that they have all that already structured, right? So what? And let's just put another one of Apple TV doesn't, right? And Apple TV is getting ragged on how they're doing a baseball night on Fridays and they're getting, very weird reviews, especially depending on.
See, that's a good point you made. That would be a better thing for people who don't really want to deal with streaming, right, to keep it on an ESPN. Now, of course, ESPN may give you one package for $30. I haven't saw the details to that. Have you?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's another thing too. Is like if they see that it's not NFL and you can get other sports or other content with that, it's a better deal on the back end for the consumer. So the NFL knows that, because if the NFL, with this whole NFL TV package, nobody wants to spend $300, $400 on NFL package.
Yeah.
So that's why they're doing it. They're doing it for current subscribers and future subscribers who want more bang for their buck. But at the end of the day, you're still going to buck up. you're still gonna pay for the content.
Yeah.
But like you and I always criticize these holders of content. Like, listen, if I'm paying $50, give me $50-$60 worth of content. Don't give me $10 worth of content.
Right.
Right. And I'm paying $50, right? So it's a switcheroo. I don't like it, but again, it makes sense for them. And as a sports watcher, it makes sense for me to like try to agree with it so I can see more when I pay, right?
Yeah.
So
supposedly Scott Hanson's still going to host Red Zone. I hope they don't bring in Stephen A. Smith to host that.
Yeah,
so annoying.
That's one of those things too that they like that we don't like, right? NFL and ESPN love the fact that now with all because there's so many commentators that have moved to different networks and have Fox and then or they have new commentators coming up. They like that because now they don't have to pay the Stephen A. Smiths. They don't have to pay these other bigger names that come and commentate and that kind of monies because they're like, well, you're already doing commentating on the college game, just come and commentate on the NFL game.
Yeah.
Right. So it's for them, it's business, it's good for them. It keeps the amount that they have to pay out on fees and different types of contracts. It keeps it lower for them, right? Too. So it's business.
Yeah.
Right? What are we going to do? Like, as much as we want to see things and we have great ideas, it's not up to us.
Yeah, the NFL's always looking to make money. They've always had somewhat control over ABC and Disney. Do you remember when we were in college, that show Playmakers?
Yeah.
It was really good. The NFL, I didn't think it was that racy, but the NFL said they didn't like that show. The way it portrayed pro football players. So this was in 2003. They took it off.
I think you and I think
one season, a great show.
It was a perfect time. ESPN had good shows. Like I want to mention something. I'm sure you agree with me. I think Cold Pizza was one of the best shows.
It was good, yeah, when it first came out.
When it first came out, right? And then they started messing with it.
I'm just saying the NFL, they had control over ES. They said, no, we don't like you showing that.
Right. Yeah. And they also did that. If I'm not mistaken, doesn't ESPN didn't they have like a football? They had something similar to the Red Zone. I think it was 2 seasons ago, and it didn't kind of work out for them.
Okay,
I forgot what it was called.
Yeah, Cold Pizza was good at the time.
Yeah,
maybe because we was in college and that was that age where you really leaned into those shows.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, they've been. It's like every 3 years they change shows around, they change these commentators, and it's like sometimes it got better, and a lot of times it just got worse. So
yeah. Well, I don't like one thing. I will say this: your race baiters on ESPN and your activists, they're not going to be leaning into kneeling for the flag and all that stuff. Now the NFL owns part of ESPN. They're going to tell the managers to say, hey, kill topic X, kill topic, which that opens up for networks like ours, shows like and other competition to go in on the NFL because ESPN's really going to be, they got to walk gingerly.
What they're also going to do too is getting this kind of content, and now they have also control on the commercials that they'll be showing during the breaks.
Yeah,
and that's where the money's at the end of the day for
and I hope they don't do that during Red Zone because that was a good thing about Red Zone. It was commercial free.
Right. So you're going to see ads. You're going to see different types of ways they're going to get advertising in.
They'll probably pop something on the screen without words in it. That's gonna be. There's some good and the bad with it. The NFL owning ESPN.
For sure.
Yeah. Remember that guy that used to be the general manager for the Jets that works with ESPN now?
Mike Tannenbaum?
Yeah, Tannenbaum the other day. I noticed this, not this past Monday, but the Monday before that. Tannenbaum was in there with Bart Scott, former Jet. and Tannenbaum was criticizing Caleb Williams. And Bart Scott said, well, and then when he started talking about J.J. McCarthy, he said, well, you can't say this about Caleb Williams unless you said about J.J. McCarthy. So he was trying to intimidate Tannenbaum and basically not criticizing a black quarterback. That's what he was really trying to do, you know? And it's just stuff like that between him, Brian Clark, and that other guy used to play cornerback for the Ravens. They really love to play that race card and politics up and all that. And I don't know. I think a lot of that will come. It could potentially come to the end. Clay Travis don't think it will. I didn't like it. If I was Tannenbaum, I'll tell you what, man, I call balls and strikes on this show. I'm not going to be intimidated by you or anybody else. I mean, you got to stand up. That's why that J.J. Redick got his job, man. That's why he got that Lakers job, is when he told off Kendrick Perkins, because Perkins was insinuating that the league was racist, talking about an MVP with Joker and something to do with the Joker, MVP, and Joel Elliott. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, he thinks that Joker got it because he was white and Joel.
Yeah. So that's it. All that is a form of intimidation. And Redick told him off one day, and that got respect to LeBron. And then LeBron went behind the scenes, and before you know it, now he's the coach of the Lakers. You know, you got to stand up to that form of bullying and intimidate. That's the way I see it. You know, I just think the NFL is going to hear a lot of that, and they're going to circumvent back to, hey, listen, let's stop all that pushing political narratives, which they've quieted down, and stop all this racializing everything. This every chance you get. Now, a lot of the race baiters have left Jamel Hill, the other skinny black guy, Mohamed Jones, who's terrible. I think you're Ryan Clarks of the world. Everybody with Stephen A, because he carries a big audience.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
I don't know. Maybe we should move on after this, but I feel like in this deal,
I just think the NFL owners are going to say, listen, we're tired of hearing all that. You turn off a lot of people with that stuff, and we got 10% equity in ESPN. We want that to come to stop and get ESPN back to just talking sports, not looking for that. That's my whole point about that.
Yeah, I know, but Robert, I think with this deal, I think they're trying to be balanced because ABC, Disney, ESPN, whatever you want to call them, they're liberal. They're all, they're more liberal.
And the NFL's very conservative. These owners are conservative. They own it,
I think what they're doing is they want to hit a bigger population, which means that they have to go a little bit more they have to not worry about those kind of issues and just
keep it about sports like it used to be.
Right. And
back in the early 2000s when it was at its peak. Of course, cord cutting and all that came in about too.
Right.
Technology and streaming. But I just think stuff like that is the reason why I wouldn't want to deal with ESPN. But on the other hand, they know ESPN's a big network and they got that college football. They know the NFL people see college football ratings going up. They know the ESPN owns a lot of the SEC stuff. So they're just looking at numbers.
Right. That's
they want equity in numbers, but they also pretty control freaks. I told you about, like we just said, about the stuff with the Ballers Network, which Playmakers, which I didn't think it was that racy, but I guess it offended the NFL enough where they didn't want that image to be portrayed.
Right.
It was a nothing compared to like Ballers, but anyways, that's something else. What do you think about these new polls that are out? Speaking of college. The coaches poll's different from the AP.
Yes, it is different.
You got Georgia being number one AP. I slept on that for a few days. Maybe the Associated Press, maybe they're on to something there. And then the coaches poll seems a little bit more opposite of what it has been in the past. It's actually up to what I'm thinking. Texas number one with Arch Manning, one of the best defenses in the country. Ohio State. Penn State with Aller coming back, with Georgia and all their players, and Notre Dame. I think that top five of coaches poll looks pretty good. What do you think about these two polls? Which one looks more realistic to your line of thinking coaches poll or any other comments on those two poll comparables?
So what we've seen in the past, Robert, is that these AP polls are kind of like what the playoffs kind of start looking like, right?
Yeah.
So and those top 8 teams in the 25, it's somewhere between 6 to 8 teams are always going to kind of be in a mix. And so from the AP poll, so the coaches poll is usually what's trending and what's currently going on with wins, the actuality of what's happening, right? So and I don't like either of these polls, to be honest with you. So I don't
Who do you think's the best team coming in your opinion?
I feel like after we see that the first matchup, which is Texas and
Ohio State, yeah.
Ohio State, I think after that matchup, I'll be more comfortable with a poll. But this is these are wild because they say that Penn State right now has one of the easiest schedules.
Yeah.
But they're in a tough conference.
Yeah, Big Ten's really playing well. Aller's coming back. They got 2 really good running backs, a lot of defensive players.
So let's go off and choose
don't
one.
You think Georgia, like the AP, don't you not Georgia, but Ohio State. This team won a national championship. They got a 5-star player quarterback coming in there. Don't you think that's a little low?
Yeah, so
for the AP to put them at 6.
Let's stick at this AP. Let's stick on that one.
Yeah, okay.
That would be because we can't just go back and forth.
I just think I thought that was kind of odd for them to make Ohio State number 6, man.
Yeah, and if anything, I would make Oregon like top 5.
Oh yeah, well,
and I would move Alabama to where Ohio State is and switch them around.
Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe put and Clemson's supposed to be loaded too with defensive players.
I was gonna say, I was like, there's no way I'm gonna put Clemson like higher than 10 ever because of now I've heard people from the SEC, people from the ACC, and people from the Big Ten saying that they don't want to play Clemson this year. A lot of these coaches saying that.
It's supposed to be good, and they're supposed to have a loaded defensive line.
Look, I don't know how Dabo Swinney's doing it, but they said this is probably going to be his last hurrah because
it could be, yeah.
So that's another reason why they're highly rated as well. So we'll see what he's got, and we see what he's going to do. And I think Miami, LSU, and Michigan are where they're supposed to be.
Okay.
Even I think Tennessee should be maybe 2 spots higher. I'd put them higher than.
Oh, you love Tennessee, even with a new quarterback.
Yeah. I don't. Houston and even Oklahoma, they've lost a lot of players, man. So, and even Michigan, they've lost a few players. So I don't.
Yeah, Michigan I thought was high too, man.
So, but other than that, this top AP looks like. Look, those
which one do you like the best? You like the AP the best?
Yeah, I think the AP is more. I think the Associated Press is more of more open-minded. You know.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Well, in the past, they've seemed to be more spot on.
Yes. Yeah.
Traditionally, and I will say this again: Georgia. With 9 starters coming back. No, they got 16 starters coming back. Mm-hmm. And this junior Gunnar Stockton kid with the full offseason to prepare. The AP very well may be spot on there by putting Georgia at number 1. Georgia is still a legitimate national championship contender, even though they don't have that quarterback like a Texas or a Penn State or a Clemson. All those guys have potential first-round quarterbacks, including LSU. We talked about Nussmeier a few weeks ago.
Right. I mean, And here's the thing, man. And I'm not saying that he's bad, but you honestly believe Archie Manning's going to carry Texas into a national championship this year?
I don't think they will. I think they're going to slip up somewhere. I think they can beat Texas though in that first game because you're not really sure what Ohio State's going to be dealing with. That third quarterback, even though he's a young guy, 5-star. Remember, I think he had 5-6 starts last year. In the last few years, he's a good athlete. He's going to they're going to open that offense up. Now, of course, playing at Ohio State the very first game, I mean, that's a big one to start off, But last time they played up there, they won with Vince Young, if you recall, back in 2005, 20 years ago.
Man, they got here's my thing.
There's a lot of hype on that first weekend, man.
Yeah, and the third row to me, I feel like is on the coaches on the preseason AP poll.
Coach AP, okay.
Yeah. So you got Michigan, A&M, Kansas, Kansas State. You have SMU and University of Florida.
Yeah, Florida may be better than those teams.
I just feel like some of these teams are overhyped, but let's see. I think that middle row though, three of those teams are going to fall fast.
So you're saying 11 through 15, which is in the AP, right?
Yeah, in AP.
Which is A&M, Michigan, Kansas State,
SMU, and Florida.
SMU and Florida. Listen, man, Florida's. I think this quarterback's the real deal. If he's had a decent offseason and he improves just a little bit, they played really well down the stretch last year. DJ Lagway. I think they could be a dark horse this year, but their schedule's very hard.
Yeah, the schedule's tough.
Yeah, and of course, a lot of this is the quarterback play with a lot of these teams. People are talking about this dark horse possibly being Texas Tech. They spent a lot of, I don't know if you read that story or heard anything about this. They spent a lot of money in NIL.
They did, yes.
And you got a lot of transfers there. They've been known to come up with some big upsets in the past. Texas Tech could very well be your black horse coming out this year. And now a lot of people's talking about Ty Simpson with Alabama. I'm not sure about Alabama. They're going to have to prove it to me under this coach, man. But yeah, I think Clemson's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's it. It's all going to depend on how Clemson.
They got LSU right off the bat too, and I think they're going to beat LSU right off the bat.
These cards are going to fall fast.
Yeah,
the cards, man, it's going to fall fast, and it's we're talking right now about the top 25. In 2 weeks, we could see 10 of these teams not even in the top 25.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's true. Tennessee opens up against Syracuse. They can jump ahead, but Aguilar. Let's see how he plays for UCLA. Maybe he plays better than Nico. He's an older player. They got the UCLA quarterback.
I'm concerned about Notre Dame, Michigan, Houston, and Oklahoma.
Nobody knows who Notre Dame's. They don't know anything about their quarterback this year.
I'm just concerned because they've lost so many players that.
Yeah, Riley Leonard's in the NFL. He got drafted somewhere.
Yeah, so it's like I don't.
And Oklahoma's coach, he's lucky still to be there.
He's in the hot seat, right? So
good defense, but they ain't. But I don't know. I kind of lean a little bit the coaches poll, but at the end of the day, it may very well be the AP this year. No, most of the time I'm all the way in on the AP because they're usually spot on. That's going to be interesting to see how well these guys play out. Of course, we got a few weeks to pick these games. We could pick. I cannot wait till Labor Day weekend, man.
Oh yeah, let's do some picking of some NFL and college before that.
Yeah, of course.
Next week or a week
I'm gonna try to, man. I'm gonna get my magazine this weekend. Do some more studying. My field skills.
I'm heading down there for a week, so
Let me know, man.
Yeah, we can do a show maybe together somewhere.
Yeah, we'll try to do a show here. I got to get this thing settled. Anything else you need to plug real quick?
I'm working on I just got freed up some time. I'm gonna do this baseball stuff starting next week.
Okay.
I have something going for this week, and then just getting ready to go back down to Nashville for a week.
Okay.
Trying to get my last time in before I come back to New York, and then me, man. I do some things. I get around.
Yeah, we'll go get dinner, maybe a drink or something, beer or something. Man, that's cool, man. Let's have it for the Mad New Yorker. Hold on.
Enjoy your games.
If I can get you trying to get that hype on. Good to be back on the air. We're leaning with it, rocking with it in the new facility.
Congrats on the new place, man.
All right. Appreciate you, brother. All right. Thanks, buddy. All right, everybody. I'll see you next week. Have a good week. And hopefully I'll be back on next Wednesday here on The Real Sports Talk.